It's not the things inside my head that keep me going. Don't need someone to throw me money, they should show it. Keep chasing shadows, they're always haunting me. But I believe in something bigger, bigger.
Alright guys, I'm just getting ready to start on my leg workout for today. So I'm just going to get my pre-workout sorted, and I thought I might as well show you guys what I actually have in my pre-workout. So the first thing that I put in is some carb powder. Now this is a very simple carbohydrate. It means it's going to digest very fast when it hits my stomach. So some of the carb powders, like Cluster Bomb for instance, is a slow digesting carbohydrate, which means you're not going to want to have that too close to your workout. You've got to make sure you have that at least half an hour before. Something like this is good for not only pre-workout but intra-workout as well. So I'm going to have two small scoops of this now, and then I'm actually going to have 2 scoops of it during my leg workout just to keep me going with the amino acids. So carb powder, I've been smashing the Total War as the pre-workout lately. Fucking strong shit, man. I actually started with a 3/4 scoop because it's just gives you a lot of tingles, you know, and I'm not too keen on that. So 3/4 scoop of that, and then 5 grams of creatine, and that's the staple supplements that I've been using for like 10 plus years. Carbohydrates, creatine, don't need to overcomplicate it. Not reinventing the wheel here. Smash that back, and then we get fucking massive. Alright, so I wash this out, fill it up with cold water from the water fountain, put a bit of carbs in there with the amino acids like I said, and we go and warm it up. So the BCAAs that I've been using is Amino Energy. Now I've swapped between different brands and like, you know, different flavors and shit like this, and for some reason I always just come back to the Amino Energy. I think purely because the flavor is just good, you know, when you're sipping on something during training you don't want it tasting like fucking medicine. So they got good flavors. And then the carb powder. Put a bit more of this in there. Then boom, nutrients. Extra big pumps today, baby. Oh! Alright, turn it off. Alright guys, so the first exercise I'm going to do for my workout today will be the good old barbell squats. Now, there's a couple of different things that you should understand when you're setting yourself up for this exercise. The first thing that I always tell my clients is the feeding position. So in terms of how far your feet should be apart, I like to make sure that my clients always have their feet at least shoulder width apart. If your feet are too narrow, you're going to get stuck about here when you go down. If you open up your feet and allow your hips to drop in between that gap where your knees are, it's going to allow you to get a lot lower, and it's going to take some time to get comfortable at doing that if you haven't done this exercise much before. The second thing is the bar position. So whether you like the bar higher on your neck or lower is up to you really. For me personally, I like it somewhere in the middle. It's a good balance between doing like a high bar and a low bar squat. And during my warm-up sets, for instance, I actually do a few pause reps just to open up those tendons and the muscles so that I'm basically priming them for the heavier load, okay? So I'm gonna just do 1 plate aside, nothing crazy. Working through the range of motion here. So setting up the feet, nice wide stance, toes pointing forwards, and turning the knees outwards. That's another important thing. Okay, that's going to keep my knees out even when I'm driving up. So sit into it, come up to there. Once I can feel the muscles firing, I'm going to start to join the reps together just to get a little bit more power going. So I guess another thing that I like to make sure that you're doing, if you're doing like a bodybuilding style squat, you don't want to lock out your knees at the top and drive your hips forward like this. So each rep is not just one at a time, as opposed to powerlifting where you've got to get it all the way to the top and then reset. For me, because I like to join my reps together, because it's just working the mid-range of the movement, that's where the most amount of tension is going to build up through the quads for hypertrophy training. You just want to come up to about 90% and have a little bit of a bend through your knee, keeping the knees turned out, which is engaging my glutes. And obviously when your glutes are engaged, that means you're going to have a lot more stability through the movement. Alright, so this is my second warm-up set. I'm going to just do 2 plates aside. Anything over 100 kilos, so 2 plates aside. Always whack a belt on just for safety. It's not that I really need it, but it just makes me feel a lot more confident. I'll probably do a couple pause reps on this one as well, because like I said, it's just a warm-up. I'm not looking to overexert myself yet. Alright, so turn the knees out like that, brace myself, take a big breath in. Easy. Alright, so that felt really good, like connected, could feel my knees popping, a little bit of air coming out here and there, tendons obviously getting loaded. It's still heavy enough to obviously, like I'm pretty puffed out now. So I'm going to have like a good 3 to 4 minute rest, put another plate on each side, and then that will be my first working set. So 3 plates aside, and I'm going to do 4 sets of that. Alright, so that's usually a pretty comfortable weight for me. I did 12 pretty comfortably, but I wouldn't say I moved as easy as it normally does, which just like, it varies week to week for me, depending on what I've trained the last 2 days. So I had a really big back session the other day, and I could even just tell loading that. Sometimes it's going to feel grouse. Sometimes it's going to feel a bit niggly. Generally the first set's like that, but hopefully the next one will go a bit smoother, and then I might even bump it up if it does. Otherwise I'll probably just stay on that. So my point is, judge the kind of weight and rep range that you're trying to do based on how you feel that day. There's no textbook like you have to do 10 or you have to do 12, otherwise it's too heavy or whatever. Just go based on how you feel, and there's going to be a lot of different shit that will impact that, like how much water you've had during the day, how much food you've had, how your sleep was the night before, what you trained the last 2 days. All these variables will come into it, you know what I mean? Alright, so I'm doing my 3rd set now. Bumped it up a little bit, like another 10 kilos. I got 12 on the last one, so let's fucking do it. What else is there?
I don't wanna just forget you, but I wanna be fine. I'll be waiting for a second. And your heart is out of sight. I just wanna feel mine.
Yeah.
Hey you, I could become down for another one. Hey you, maybe then you know that I was never one. I'm gonna be the one for another one. Maybe then you know that I was never one. I'm gonna be the one for another one. I don't wanna fear you tonight.
A little bit shaky on the last two. Knees were coming in a little bit. Felt like it was crushing me, but those are the reps that count, you know. The reason I told you guys at the start is that when you get to the top, always try and rotate your knees out. That keeps your glutes engaged. So when you go down and you're starting to fatigue, if you're consciously turning your feet outwards in your shoes, that's what's going to prevent your knees from doing this. You know, you see a lot of new people to training come into squats and they get into the last part of the set and their knees are doing that. Happened to me a little bit then, but I was consciously trying to correct it, so I prevented it from like really caving in. Just give it a shot, makes a big difference. Alright guys, so second exercise, we're moving on to walking lunges. Hands down one of the hardest exercises for legs, straight up. But in saying that, one of the best exercises. The reason I like doing this exercise is because it creates really deep curves through your quads over time. Obviously you got to do it for quite a few years, week in, week out, consistently. And also, I feel helps build up a bit more swoop to your quad. So because you're stepping to the side and putting the weight into the side of the leg and into the side of the hip, that pressure exerts into the outside part of your quad, which essentially is what's going to grow that swooping shape to your legs. When you do these, make sure you don't stop in the middle of each rep, okay? So when you step, you got to step forward into the next one and join the reps together. Make sure you move consistently throughout the whole set. The more you start and stop, the harder it's going to be, because you're moving the pressure around on your legs and your hips and you're losing that momentum of moving forward. Now I haven't done these in a while, so I'm probably just going to go maybe 10 up, 10 back. In terms of the depth as well, you got to go down to about 90 degrees, but don't let that back knee hit the floor. If you hit the floor with that back knee, you're going to get stuck, man. Straight up. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, kills the glutes this one. Oh, because you're loading all that weight through your hips, when you go down, there's a lot of pressure in the bottom of your glutes. So I actually try and like consciously squeeze my glute as I sink into the rep, and then push back out of the box with a lot of power. Alright guys, so we're about to do the third set of walking lunges now. Feeling pretty comfortable with it, so I'm going to bump it up another 10 each side, so 20 kilos all up. Yeah. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Give me some room. Oh my god.
Go back.
For every step you go forward, you gotta go back. Take a bath. Yeah, pull it up. Got it? Drop it.
Okay.
Yeah, go, drop it. I felt something pop. Oh.
Abductor.
I did want to do another rep.
Yeah, no.
I felt it click.
Groin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alright guys, so as you would have seen, halfway through the way back, I felt something click in my leg and I'm like, fucking hell man, that felt like I just tore something. I think it was just a tendon sort of popping. But like I said, I haven't done that weight in a very long time. I haven't done lunges in over a year, like heavy lunges. So that was a big jump, but I knew I could do that weight from previously. But when you're doing like exercises that you either haven't done before or you haven't done them in a long time, it's not necessarily the muscles that you think that you're training that are not going to be able to handle the weight. Sometimes it's actually your supportive muscles or your surrounding muscles, like your adductors or your glutes, that are not going to be able to handle that load. And this is a dynamic movement. You're moving backwards and forwards with it. So it's no surprise to me that that happened. It is what it is, you know. I'm not going to pretend that all my training is always perfect. Sometimes you bite off more than you can chew, you know. So I thought I'd be able to handle it, but obviously on the way back, I felt it. I definitely wasn't going to try and do one more rep because when you're hot, you don't really feel it. Your adrenaline's going. You stop training, you cool down, bang, it hits you. And if you continue to try and train after it, that's when shit gets a lot worse. You know, you will go from it being a very small or minor injury into something more severe. So honestly, I think I'm just going to cap the whole workout there because I don't want this to get worse. I'll see how I feel in the next 10 minutes and then I'll come back to you guys. Alright guys, so I just walked around on my leg a little bit, you know, tried to suss out where the pain was coming from, and it was actually my hamstring that sort of failed on me. It wasn't adductor and it wasn't quad. So I'm just doing a few light extensions now to finish off the workout. This doesn't hurt at all. But like I said before, if you're feeling even just the slightest bit of pain and you felt something click or you feel like you like sort of tore something, it's really not worth trying to push through the rest of the session doing the same exercises that are just aggravating it. So obviously I'm skipping leg presses today because that's just going to load my hamstring and my adductor way too much. This is a very isolated movement. I'm not going to go extremely heavy on this. Probably on about half a stack when I would normally do like the full stack. So just a little bit of a finisher, trying to round off the corners here and get a bit more shape through this part of my quad. It's probably like 4 sets of 15. Oh, and then might even do like a bit of an ice bath later out the back, just to sort of cool off that injury a little bit. Oh. Doing an Alex, bro. I could see him out the corner of my eye. Just
Someone called me.
it was like this.
No, I just wanted to see if it was a prank call or not. Someone called me, said hello. I just hung up on them.
Alright guys, so that's pretty much the end of the workout. Cutting it a little bit premature, but feeling pretty good. Injury's not hurting too much. I'm gonna have an ice bath later just to sort of reduce some of that inflammation. Oh. Alright guys, so we're about to move on to doing our calves. Right now I'm doing what I call the ABW priming technique. So all I'm doing is stretching the muscle all the way through, dropping the heels below parallel. All right, leaning forward a little bit so I can open up every single corner of the calf. Then as I push up, I'm gonna squeeze the calves as hard as I can, bending the knee a little bit, putting as much pressure as I can through the Achilles and the soleus. And I'm gonna do this about 10 times, just to warm up the muscles and get them firing. And then we're gonna move into doing that bad boy right there, which is the plate loaded calf raise machine. Ah. Alright guys, so what I'm doing here is I'm making sure that the heels drop underneath the platform as far as possible, holding it on that stretch for a little bit, and then squeezing as high as I can at the top. I'm going to do about 6 to 8 reps like that. Once I feel that the muscles are starting to fatigue a little bit and I can't get it as high as the previous rep, just come up here a little bit. And what I'm going to do is grab onto these handles here and just pull it up to assist myself. Then I let go, let the weight stretch the calves out again, pull it up, squeeze and hold, let it go. And then when I feel like I can't do that anymore, then I'm just going to pulse it and do as many reps as I can until the muscle fully burns out, like fully burns out. Ah! Alright, so I just got home from training and I grabbed a couple of bags of ice on my way home so that I can have an ice bath. Try and get this leg to calm down a little bit. What are you barking at, mate? Oh no, this is the hardest part. We've got to go up the stairs still. Sheesh. Oh, oh, my leg. Oh, oh, fuck. Alright, well I'm not really going to film this because it's just going to be me sitting in the bath, but I'm going to have a 10-minute ice bath now. So I've just filled up the tub. Alright guys, so that's the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed that leg workout. Now obviously that didn't really go to plan 100%, which means I didn't get to do my leg presses. So the workout routine was a little bit different to what I would normally do. But those things kind of happen, you know, like just training's not always 100% straightforward. So you just kind of got to go with what you got. And my advice to you, especially if you guys are younger trainers, injury prevention is one of the biggest things. So don't let your ego get a hold of you. Obviously that's what sort of came into play in that video, and I'll admit it straight away. I shouldn't have gone that heavy on the lunges. But filming and editing for you guys today, I can already tell you that my leg's 100% better because I did what was necessary in order for it to heal up. But anyway, I'm going to put the workout routine at the end of this video so that you guys can screenshot it, and it'll also be in the description below. So make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to turn your post notifications on. So click the bell next to the subscribe button and then you'll get notified as soon as I put up my next videos. Alright, I look forward to hearing from you guys in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.